If you've been thinking about doing your own boho braids or Bora braids or whatever you want to call it, this is your sign to do it. Ain't nobody tell me nothing. That is this hairstyle for me. And I wish, when I tell you I wish I learned how to do it sooner. This style was one of the easiest hairstyles I've ever done.
Quick disclaimer, I use body wave bundles on my hair, and on the right you'll see that once I washed it, it was much more flat. But if you want to have a more full look, I highly recommend using curly patterns or a deep wave to achieve more of a full look.
Like, you can't tell me that this hair isn't stunning. Hey y'all, it's Candace Janae. Welcome to my YouTube channel. This is for the girlies who know how to braid, who can do knotless, that might be intimidated when they look at the, boho braid. I'm telling you, like, this is how to make this easy for you. I'm gonna give you an entire rundown of what I did. Promise you it's worth saving you hundreds of dollars. If you are interested in learning how I did this particular look, then stay tuned. Got my fingers clear, took my nails off just so that I can get the grip game that I want. But and now I'm gonna
Let's talk materials. I use jam, nail glue, you need 2 of them, rat tail comb, scissors, pack hair, and rubber bands. I got to sectioning off my hair, and it was really helpful for me to have a mirror with my phone, so I kind of used it as a double mirror. But then when I couldn't figure it out, I switched to my other mirror as well. But I basically just parted my hair in a way that makes sense for me. There's lots of videos on YouTube teaching you how to part your hair for knotless braids. I just did what was best for me. I don't care a ton about patterns, but this is the hair that I use from Luxe Legacy Boutique. And they are really, really great. I love that the blonde that they have is a really good mixture. It's not just like 613. It's like a really good mixture of blonde, and I like how it really turned out. I used pack hair again for like X-Pressions braiding hair, and as you can see in that blonde, it was a little bit more blonde than the original color I had found, but I just figured it would look better with the mixture of my hair in there. So I got this really cool rack from the beauty supply store. You can get one from Amazon, so I'll link it below, but this was really helpful to have that right in front of me. But you pretty much get each braid started just like you do a regular knotless braid or braid, where you're adding in weaves. So you add in the short end of the hair. And one thing you'll notice is that I used jam, like the gel, to basically go on the straight end of the curly piece to basically make it easier so that things don't like fall apart. This was me kind of trying it out the first time. And so what I found is that if you want to add the hair in closer to the scalp, you just add in the straight piece and leave it out of the way and start braiding it the rest of the way. But what I learned shortly after that is that it's much easier to just add in the curly piece as if you are braiding it in like you would any other, piece of braiding hair, when you're adding in hair, and then you just separate out the curly piece. And so I pretty much did that all of the way through the braid. And I'm going to show you how I end the braid and all of that with my final braid that I use in the front. So you braid down to the scalp, just like you would a knotless braid. You see me adding in the straight piece going downward and pulling the curly end of that curly hair off to the side. I clip it off to just add a little bit of tension, and then I braid it down to just like I would braid any other braid down. Now, as I'm doing this, I am gonna add in some more curly hair. Now this piece I add in very similarly to the last piece, and I did this only on the braids that were closer to the top, because I wanted more curly hair to be in my face. And so as you're going, you can also add in actual braiding hair that is straight. So I basically continue to add in braiding hair to make the braid thick, to add in length to my hair, and also to make sure that it just looked right and made sense. I don't know how else to explain that other than you just kind of know when to add in a piece of hair, and you just keep braiding it down as normal and per usual. And then every now and then you add in an additional piece of the curly hair. And again, you go the same way. You braid it down and then you take out that one curly piece. I usually counted that I'd braid it down maybe about 6 or 7 times and then pulled out the curly piece and moved it out the way, clipped it out the way to add tension and make sure that it didn't end up getting braided with the rest of the hair. And then I keep braiding down. So I basically continue this the entire way down. And pretty much you're just adding in curly hair as if it is regular braiding hair and separating out the curly piece. Literally, this is why I said it was so easy, is because like it felt like me just adding in more hair to every single braid. So I really hope that makes sense for you, because literally if I knew it was this simple, baby, I would have been tried this hairstyle a very long time ago. Now, as I'm finishing up this last braid, as I'm braiding it down, keeping the other hair out of the way, I want to show you how I end the braid. So at the end, you are going to add in 3 pieces of curly hair. So as you are braiding down, you're going to continue to add in 1 piece at a time, but you're not going to take that piece of hair out. So here you see me adding in the 3rd piece of curly hair to end the braid. And so what I'm doing, this is just going to be the piece that is going to linger at the bottom to basically hang. And so now that I am finishing this braid, I am going to add in the nail glue. And I basically go in to add the nail glue right where I know, granted, this is way further beyond where my hair is, but I put hair glue on both sides of the braid. And when I do that, why did I say hair glue? Nail glue. Okay, I put that on both sides of the braid and then I palm roll it. And no, I'm not re-recording that because, baby, it took too long for me to do this to begin with. And I fished out the straight pieces, so I cut them out. So you see, I literally took the straight pieces, cut them out, and then what I'm going back and doing is adding in more glue over the part where the straight hair is kind of like jagged or like rigid or whatever. I'm just like adding glue on top of that and palm rolling it again so that it won't really be able to be seen, right? And so nobody is really gonna see that. So I'm not super particular about my hair when I'm doing it myself, but baby, if somebody else got their hands on my head and I'm paying them, baby, you better get it right. Better not be no hair sticking out of place, okay? But for me, I'm a lot more gentle, and you can even see with my parts, like I do not care what my parts look like when I'm the one doing my own hair. But when somebody else is doing it, baby, these parts better be straight. So the last 2 rows, I basically left it so that there was no hair added to it, except for at the end. So that's what you saw right there.
The final product. To answer a few FAQs. Number 1, how many packs of hair did I use? I used 2 packs of hair, and I used almost all of them, and I think it turned out really great. Is how many pieces of like boho did I include per braid, right? So we're gonna count 3, 4, 5, and then I used 2 or 3 at the end. How do I sleep with this hairstyle? I basically took my scarf and I'm tying this around there. And when I tell you, this was like the perfect way to sleep. So now let's talk about the braiding hair. Now, I used human hair for the curly pieces, but for the regular braids themselves, I used braiding hair. Now, even though my hair is long on its own, I realized that in order for my hair to look the way that I wanted it to look, that I needed to use actual braiding hair. So I used X-Pressions braiding hair. I actually had some old pack hair that I had that worked really well for me. And pretty much I did that because it's gonna give you more space to add in more of the hair. So even though my braid itself probably ends around here with my natural hair, it just gave me a little extra room to be able to add in more hair as I went on. So this is a great example. So if my real hair ended, like let's say here, then I would have had to like add in extra pieces of hair here, and then the curls would have stopped here. That's totally fine. But for the look that I was going for, I know I needed to braid it down a little bit more. And then this gave me room to add in more pieces of hair and more volume. How long did it take me? I set aside 3 days to do this. Now, did it take me all 3 days? No. Total of maybe like 12 hours, like, which is not too crazy because I feel like I did the first quarter of my head. I was done with that within like maybe 4 hours. Like, girl, try this style. Like, this is your sign. This is your, like, I'm literally giving summertime fine. Like, that's how I feel. I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I really cannot wait to see y'all try it. This look 8. Tell me what y'all think, and then also let me know what other questions you have in the comments. If you're new here, I'm Candace Janae. I'm a digital marketing automation strategist and business coach, but I love all things travel, beauty, and fashion, and I love the Lord. So for those of y'all who are here, I pray that you stay tuned and that you continue to stay connected. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and if you made it all the way to the end of the video, drop some fire emojis, but only if you think this look is fire, okay? All right, I'll see y'all on the next video. Bye.